What's happening, everybody? How you guys doing? This is the Rolling Thunder, episode 5. We've got Casey and Andy in here. What's up, fellas?
What up?
What's going on? Thanks for having me again.
Yeah,
Appreciate
buddy.
it.
It's always a good time having you on here. We got Casey back in here. He's been on his little hiatus too, so hopefully we end up having some good time tonight. We've got a special guest. So for episode 5, a lot of you guys know we're also buddies with him online. He's very active in here with his buddy Big D. He also does his own thing, taking and dynoing amps, dynoing head units, doing all kind of crazy stuff, testing power wires. And as the legend himself, it's your boy Hifi Vega down here. We'll go ahead and pull this knucklehead in here. What's up, buddy? How you doing today, man?
Yo, what's going on, man?
What's up?
You're using that word legend pretty liberally.
I
just want to point that out.
Believe it or not, though, man, I think you're getting to a point like if you get brought up in a conversation, and I'm not tooting your horn or anything like that. I think you can, and probably Andy and Casey will agree. Like I've not had somebody that we talk about amp dynos and stuff like that with him like that doesn't know who you are, though. Make straight up. So like I think you're making it to like the recognized YouTuber status pretty quickly. Even though
for sure.
Yeah, I honestly think
crazy because I honestly don't think of myself as an amp dyno word. That's kind of just something I almost do as a filler content on my channel.
I heard you were saying that, I think was it last night you were talking about you to do, or the night before last when it was 12E, you were like, hey, I just do these as filler. But I honestly, when I think of Hifi Vega, I think more like my vision of you as a YouTuber is going to be the power wire test and amp dynos. And like it's like the more obscure of the dynos of the stuff that you're normally not going to see getting done.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I'm a wire guy. I like wire too. So,
testing stuff that normal people just don't want to test. You know what I mean? And it takes time, especially finding all those wires, buying them all, each foot, weighing it, stripping it. You know what I mean? That's a lot of testing.
Well, plus everyone's like, oh, so why don't you test resistance or oh, please, if you guys want to send me 32 20-foot links of each different brand of wire, yeah, I'll test them. But until we got, $3,000 to do that, I don't see it.
Not happening.
Right.
And we'll touch back on the testing wire and how we got into that here in a minute. So what we'll end up doing is we're going to go, just like I've done with Andy and another gentleman, we'll take and do a deep dive. I'd like to find out, like, what got Hifi Vega into car audio? Like, what was some of your first setups? And we'll go into that. So, like, we'll flash back. And I think I've heard you talk about it before, so I'm not going to have you go crazy on going into it. But it was like, mid-late 90s? I think you said you heard a Rockford setup or something like that, or a Rockford punch sub, and you're like, I need bass. And then how did that translate into you buying it for your own car, system?
So it started, there's what started my interest in car audio, and there's what like made me hardcore want to get into audio. And the one I talked about last night was the second, the latter. This is what really like solidified I'm into car audio. I love this stuff. And it was a Rockford Fosgate Punch 18. Right when they first come out, it wasn't even an XLC. It was before then. So it was a Punch. I forget. It was a DVC maybe because it wasn't the Series 1.
Mm-hmm. The Series 1's like the entry level one, so it's like the regular Punch one, and it has like a whole whopping 45-ounce slug, single slug magnet on the back.
Yeah, for an 18. And
yeah, it's the same size all the way to 12. Yeah,
on a Rockford Fosgate 500.2 and a Geo Metro. And I don't know if you guys like Ice Cube or any old school Ice Cube, but the song, it's like called Don Mega. And my buddy was playing that song on there, and it's got like the Grim Reaper in me. It's like Ice Cube, and the windows are just boom. And then when it drops the bass, man, it's like boom. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this.
It's funny how that song did it for you. The very first, there's two songs that like honestly, my childhood in the 90s. I remember being at Nopi Nationals. And in like the mid 90s, and somebody played the Thunder Rolls, like Garth Brooks song, and like the thunder in the beginning, and it was like, and like the car was just going crazy, and I'm like, oh my goodness! And then the same guy played Gangster's Paradise. It was brand new on cassette at the time. And I guess I am old enough where I went to shows where they were still doing certain demos and stuff with cassette tapes, and like I remember Gangster's Paradise and the beginning of the Thunder Rolls, and I was like, my goodness gracious!
Oh, I was a cassette holdout, dude. Like, here's the thing. Like, I invested in a flip-down screen Clarion cassette deck that would auto-load the tapes in for you, like a CD. Mm-hmm. So, dude, I was so proud that I paid like $379 for it.
Oh, wow.
And CDs were dropping. Sony has one out. Clarion even has one out at this point. And everyone's like, oh, man, you got to get a CD. I was like, no. CDs skip. I can't mess with that. I got these tapes. These tapes don't skip. So I'd done that for about 3 years. And then finally I was like, yeah, I don't know what I've been doing this whole time.
You got to get the anti-skip ones, man. 40 seconds or something like that. Bigger the number, the better, right?
For me, at the shows, it was either Crystal Method or
the Vegas
around the
soundtrack.
neighborhood, it was Kid Rock.
Dude, the Crystal. My dad had a Dodge Dakota that they had. So they were doing a Lightning Audio demo vehicle, and it was 2 Storm 15s. But they were at the first box they tried was 4 Storm 10s, and so that box they ended up having better luck with the 15s. So my dad literally just the 4 10s box in the back of his Dakota or whatever. And that Crystal Method Vegas CD with High Roller and all that stuff, Jesus Christ, that is very impressionable on me on getting into car audio.
I love the song so much.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that one up. But what was your first setup you bought for yourself, and how did that install go? Like, what was the existence of that?
Like everything that we make fun of people for, laugh. Like I was there with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever's doing this crap, I was doing this crap. I was using a remote wire by just jumping to a fuse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a fuse box. That's my remote wire. This
Been there, done that.
When the car comes on, I've run wire through the freaking door when I was like 14 years old for somebody. Not my vehicles, because by the time I got a vehicle, I knew not to run wires through the door jam. But I was into car audio before I got a car, so I was into car audio at 14. And I'm here, like, I've got buddies that are older and driving, like, yeah, man, you know about this stuff? Yeah, man, I cook it up. I was the buddy that could.
The guy, like, hit up.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then, Dean's, like, seeing what I done and, like, what the, who did this? I was that guy for a while.
I got really lucky.
Yeah, well, you were born into it,
I was very interested, and I always wanted to impress my dad and stuff like that. So I would just pay super well attention or help what I can, or and this hold the flashlight every opportunity given, which is back in my day, it's like a freaking 6D battery single bulb thing that But what did you go to the store and buy? And if you guys, you can also chime in also. But so what was like your first audio purchase? Like I'm putting this
I had. So I'm trying to think of the very first one. I know it was Planet Audio 12s back when they were pretty decent, and they were Zed Audio was making the amps, and they were kind of like a new kid in town. And at that point, we thought, hey, maybe these are going to be the next big thing. We know how that turned out, but they were quality. They were actually made in USA subs. Sounded pretty good. I had 2 of those, and I had a Sony ES 2-channel bridge of those. I had the Clarion tape deck. And then I had Clarion components and Clarion 4x6s up front, just run off the deck. At that point, I wasn't when I got into car audio, total bass set. And I didn't even start with the Clarion speakers, but the sub was so loud that I was like,
I got to upgrade these.
Cutting it, yeah. So,
heck yeah.
I think we've all been there. So you just went, and what kind of vehicle was that? And that's when you're just like, I'm doing the whole system. That was the Eclipse or no? The Talon?
That was an 87 S10 Tahoe edition.
Nice.
So it was a single cab. It wasn't an extended cab, and everything was behind the seat.
Very cool.
And the amp. Okay, the amp, and I've had later amps. The amp was in the floorboard of the passenger seat.
Heck yeah.
So
we've all, dude. When you're in a single cab truck, you do what you got to do. I was telling, I think we did on the first one. Like I had mine as in my head, it lined out great. I'm gonna make this amplifier the top of my center console. It's gonna look sweet when you get in. And I didn't realize I was putting like a waffle iron, in the middle of my center console.
Just throw a towel over it.
Yeah, that's what I did. I would keep a folded up towel on the back half of it, and it would just be fine. And it's like it said like 760 watt Pioneer in big letters on it. I'm like, this is just killing it. And a kicker CVR, it was the. No,
I've got a scar on my leg from I upgraded later to the Punch 225.2, and it was in the same spot in the floorboard while I was trying to rewire something, and I was crawled in the passenger side, laid my leg straight on that amp after I've been beating on it at 2 ohms mono for an hour and a half, and dude, it was a legit burn.
Those waffle amps are no joke, man. Like, I mean, like those the black, was it a black and grind or the one right before
it?
Just
before it, yeah.
Yeah. So they get warm. They won't cut off though. I've never seen one cut off. I've seen those boards like literally smelling like plastic. How hot they are, and just still getting it.
Yeah, when you first go ahead. whenever you first get in car audio, man, you just kind of just want to throw it together, and it doesn't really matter how it looks, cleaning wise, you know what I
I'll
mean?
fix it later, bro. I'm gonna fix it
right.
later.
You just want to hear it. That's why they got pages called I Just Want to Bang, because people just want to bang. They want to play their system. They don't care how it looks and how, why is that wire running through the door jamb? I don't know, but I couldn't get it through the firewall because there's not a hole there. You know what I mean? We've all been there if you didn't have someone holding your hand along the way. So totally understand that.
The problem with that is nowadays is, back then I always had something in my car, something playing. I always had my subs and everything. Now that I do everything the way you're supposed to do it. I don't have subs. My mid range isn't tuned in. It's just hooked up, and it's like, yeah, I'm always in the middle of something now. Now that I know what I'm doing, I'm always in the middle, and I never have a complete system. But back when I didn't know, yeah, it was all good, and we were just rocking it with whatever we had.
Right. Exactly. I know I had my Kenwood hooked on my Solo X18 for 4 years, man. Stock electrical, 4-gauge OFC Walmart wire. Did me well,
What Kenwood did you have hooked up to that?
The 9104D.
Oh, wow.
It's like the 1800 watt, Best Buy. It was like 350 brand new back in its day. Nice amp, pretty efficient. Quality, I guess you could say. Nothing too crazy, but it was enough. I think I was clamping, 500-600 watts maybe on it. It was wired at 2 ohms. That's all it was stable at too. So it worked. In a hatchback, anything sounds loud.
Right.
Yeah,
For sure. And it will too, man. And like that's back in the day. I just bought whatever Casey recommended back in the day. Casey was like a lead Best Buy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm like, what radio do I need for $100? Like, yeah, but yeah, dude. So it was like Pioneer or JVC. Dude, some of those entry level JVCs back in the day were like the bee's knees. Like you had like nice crossovers and all that jazz.
Heck yeah.
I still like, if it's Sony, Kenwood, all these brands that get looked over nowadays.
I love my Exelon radio. I love my
always
Exelon
made
radio.
quality stuff, but you just have to have your expectations right. And the problem is you got the dude,
Exactly.
you know the guy, you know what he looks like. The guy that has the Boss amp or the guy that bought the, kicker from Walmart and he's got it all hooked up. That's what everyone sees, but actually, it's got the 1800 watts RMS, or 1800 watts max. We know it's a 600 watt amp.
Sure.
Radios. There's like a national radio shortage right now. It's ridiculously hard to get radios.
Yeah, every stereo shop, they got nothing. Walmart.
Even single dims now.
Bare minimum.
All my distributors are out.
Yeah, I was at.
Is that because of the whole boat
today.
flipping, or is that because of the pandemic, or both?
I think
shortages.
There's a fire in Japan in a chip factory, and then I guess the smoke got in their clean room, and it set them back a lot. But other
that's
than
what
that,
killed
there's other things too.
The 80 PRS was the DSP chip. The factory that made them got shut down, burned down, whatever the case may be.
I wasn't aware of that.
Those chips were gone and they're out of production now.
Thank God they finally put that to bed. I'll say it.
What made the PRS 80 so good anyway? What made it so good?
You can do 3-way active on it.
See, you can do that on a lot of them now, but it's like you had left and right EQ. That was the main thing. You had 13 bands on the left, 13 bands on the right. The graphic user interface was way better than most
anything else.
That are out
it's
now.
kind of difficult to use at first though, until you get used to it.
It had a better jack, they said, but I don't know. I've listened to a lot of head units, and the 80 PRS doesn't stand out as a sound quality.
Have you heard the Sony GS with the knob and the little screen? It has the big knob and the little screen.
No, the $1,400 one.
No, I want to hear one of those really bad.
Me too.
And translating into that, what made you? And we'll side jack, but not you do head unit power test. What made you decide that I'm going to test the output of these radios? And that's, they're just as skewed as the amplifiers are, man. And that's nothing new, man. I remember back in the day, seeing explode ones like 80X4, and you're like, what is this? Am I getting 300 something watts out of this amplifier? I mean, this radio. And a lot of people don't understand, you are going to have limitations and power that you're going to get out of this. The more features you put in this amplifier, especially when you get into CD drives and stuff like that, you'll take and you're going to cut it down. So what made you decided to take the different path on testing these head units?
The very first one I tested was a Panasonic, and it was a legit high power head unit. So when I done this, I was like, you know what? This says it needs a 10 or 12 gauge power and ground. And I know that this does more power than most head units. So that's what made me first want to test head unit power. And later it turned into that's just part of the complete testing because I want to test everything. I want to test the voltage on the RCAs and
that's a really good idea
and stuff like that because I didn't realize this, but the ramping of the voltage on RCAs of almost every head unit I've tested, you're getting that in the last 10% of volume.
Yeah,
and
the last final clicks.
Yeah,
and the cool thing on that is too, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Andy, but the people don't think about it. If you want not even just the sound, but if you want everything you're plugging in down the line of that head unit to work properly, and not just the power output of the radio, what your voltage, your pre-output on that is, it goes hand in hand with what you're going to get out of your amplifiers and how efficient they're going to work.
Yeah, right? And that's why people were like, "Well, what's the point of an 8-volt out pre-out?" Because most amps can't take that. Correct, most amps can't take that. But the thing is, you can get 4 volts at a lower volume, so you know that you're not up to clipping. And even I've tested these head units up to clipping, and you get your full voltage on the ones that are true up to clipping. But you don't want to be one volume,
one click from clipping. Yeah. See, like my Exelon 906S, it does. I can go to full volume without clipping, but I'm not 5 volt, and literally, like you said, to like the last 3 clicks. I'm right there at full tilt boogie. As Andy and Kip said, but I would like to have that higher voltage pre-output at lower volumes, and it was good to know.
That's the only way you play yours is wide open,
all the way up,
all the way
not
up.
All the dude. I'm telling you. I've only based like 3 times, after Slam. I had to take a couple of days break after Slam. Okay, I'm not even gonna joke. Okay, yeah. I listened to a podcast the whole way back. I felt like my jaw was sore from so much bass at Slamology.
Right? This is a side jack, but listening to podcasts with subs on, and all of a sudden everything's cool. Yeah. You don't know, and all of a sudden they just hit you with something like whoa.
Yeah. Dude. I had the other day. I guess I posted it online with the Wald experience. I had a car backfire, and the way it resonated in my cab and in the box, I thought something went off in my freaking truck, dude. I feel like an old man. It was a Miata backfire, dude, and it went pow, and it rattled inside the cab. And I'm like, did something just pop or die or whatever? No, it was just a Miata, and I'm like, that's startled. I got startled by a Mazda Miata in traffic. Yeah, but.
I can't. Yeah, I know when I drove to Slamology, you would think, oh, man, I get to demo for 4 to 6 hours straight, man. 2.5 hours in, you get a weird headache. It's I don't know if it's the mids and highs or just the bass. I think it's a little bit of both.
No.
Yeah.
The bullet tweeters. Yeah.
It's the mids and highs. It's that's where you lose your hearing. You don't really lose your hearing as much on the loud bass as you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let's talk about that because people are like, "Wow, you can't hear." Well, I really can't hear, but
Yeah.
Well, me neither. But it's the stupid mids and highs. But I didn't know that at first, and this is the part I hate. Man, can you cut your track up and just I want 5 seconds of music and then let the bass drop. Every demo you see is people are just sitting there okay, what do I do? And then
oh wow, yeah.
It's
I'm guilty of that sometimes. I'm guilty of it.
When is the bass gonna come in?
Yeah, no, that one video you did of the last one you did was too long. But I've got a few songs that I'll have beats going into the bass dropping. That's pretty impressive. Then you're like, holy crap, when it drops.
Yeah, I know you got to have a little bit of bass in the intro part. It can't just be straight mids and highs. It drives me nuts too.
Well, and then they cut it. When they cut off the subs, and then you just get blasted with mids and highs. And
then you realize how loud it really is.
Touche. I like having my doors sound really good though, and then roll the bass into it. And, you're like, oh wow, yeah. And then you're like, haha, I got you, sucker.
Sandbagging.
Yeah.
I have mine turned down on my mids and highs. I just can't.
Dude, Casey's doors sound insane full range. Those crescendo UNs are you can literally. It's pretty much full range in those doors. No joke.
Wow.
Well, they sound good from a distance. If you're not inside the vehicle, I think it sounds pretty good like that. And it's not, it's not straining your ears or anything.
But inside it, no joke.
It kills you, man.
Yeah.
So we'll go back on track a little bit. We went over you testing the amplifiers, testing the head units, and I guess we didn't really touch base on that as far as one thing. What made you want to get into testing the power wire? And then backtrack a little bit. What point was it Big D or what made you decide you wanted to invest in the equipment to start testing these head units and amplifiers? Because they obviously use the same AM1, which is an insane tool of its own that will teach you so many things. I try to recommend one to everybody. I learned stuff from that I thought I knew, and I was like, wow, this works totally different than what you think. But so what made you want to make that investment into the tooling for it? And then how did you lead into power wire?
So
Mr. CCA, by the way.
Yeah, Mr. CCA. That's what I should have put on my thing. But so the testing amps, like Derek, at that point, he was one of very few people that tested amps at all. And I was like, he was still doing a lot of old school stuff, but if you've noticed, he's pretty much transitioned
to new and unheard of.
It's all new, it's all budget. And honestly, it's stuff that I don't like. If Derek wasn't making the videos, I probably wouldn't watch them because I don't care about the cheap, I don't care about the budget stuff. But his videos are interesting enough that I watch them because I enjoy his videos. But it's not something I would be interested in myself. So I'm like, I can fill in a void here. I can test old stuff that people might not know about. I can test, new stuff that people might not know about. 4 channels. Derek didn't test a lot of those at the time. 5 channels. I try to fill in that gap, and that's what made me. It's an easier video for me to edit and shoot doing an amp dyno. So that at the beginning, it was a filler. So I could shoot that. I knew you got to hit, 2 or 3 beats. I know what shots I need. I know what B-roll I need. And I could just do that in a day. I could shoot it, edit it. It might be a 10-hour day, but I could shoot it, film it, edit, and everything in a day. And that's what that started out, kind of doing the niche. And also just filling in for how to, because when I'm building an enclosure or I'm showing someone how to build an enclosure, that's a whole weekend just filming. And then I might.
Your enclosures look great, by the way. I've seen a couple.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, really clean.
But it's like the how-to stuff is much harder to film.
Mm-hmm.
So
and the voiceover and all that.
Yeah,
and you're too hard on yourself, by the way, man. Like, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I was watching you live stream it at that one, and like, which obviously the overall product's worth it, but you're like, man, I said too many times. Like, I didn't even realize how many times you said or anything like that, or like cutting stuff out. And so I didn't realize. So a lot of these times too, man, you're telling me right now that you're not the YouTube millionaire. You just don't full time make YouTube videos and take and be able to do these dynos every day. That you have an actual life and family outside of this. You got me joked up that you have these long days, man. Yeah. It's crazy to think that you are able to get all that stuff in there and obviously record it, do the voiceovers and all that stuff, and edit it. And it's pretty impressive, man. So I can't believe. So at how long? Obviously, give or take some. And I know you've covered a little bit before. What's like the beginning to an intro time frame of doing a video? So does some take longer than others? You said the dyno ones are shorter just because you're doing the stuff on the screen, or what?
Yeah, so a dyno video, since I know the shots I need, I don't know. I should do this. Mark from Cardio Fab, he has a script. He has his everything planned out, his shots and everything. And, you've seen his videos. You know how organized he is. So obviously he's going to do something like that. But I more keep it in my head. So I know that I want to get a product shot of some sort. I need to get, usually before I even dyno it, I open it up, do the gut shot, and do any kind of B-roll like that. Then when we get into the dyno, if I can, I like to do live audio. This freaking power supply is so loud that it's hard to do that. So that's usually VO part. And then I know I need to get a beginning, intro, final thoughts. And I thought originally I was never in my videos. And I kind of found my niche, I think, like talking to the people instead of at the people.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to talk with a deep voice like Big D did at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek, his works really well because he talks at the people.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt so stilted when I done that because I just couldn't get comfortable doing that. And he's really good at it. And I found that if I'm looking at the camera, I'm just looking dead in the camera, I can make believe that I'm talking to somebody. I'm talking to a specific person. And that's why I do like an intro and an outro with me facing the camera.
I never even thought about that aspect of it. And I guess that's something probably you dealt with, Andy, also is, you have to it's like you're acting towards this camera of, pretending it's somebody to give it the emotion or what you want to portray across. And then sometimes I'm assuming you're like, you take multiple takes on things. You're like, I don't like the way I blinked funny on that one or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I know in the beginning, I was real stuttery like I am with live videos. I'm getting better at it, but I still get jitters. But now when I shoot and film, it's like I don't want to have a bunch of cuts in it where I'm saying or going back to what I'm saying. I want to get it right the first time all the way through as much as I can. you know, and I'm getting better where it's like maybe take me 2 at the most 3 cuts, and that's like something where I'm listing off the RMS, the specs of an amp, and I'm sitting here doing that before I dyno it. And like Rob said, the amp dynos are a little bit easier per se than like, you know, where's my box loudest in my car? Because that's a lot of work, you know what I mean? And editing that too. So that's why I kind of got addicted to the amp dynos, and I was like, okay, I can do this and do that and do this. And I'm like, I don't want to copy Derek or Rob or anyone else. I want to do other stuff too, but these amp dynos are addicting because they're pretty plug and play, where you know, you're looking at a number and you're talking about it. Let's see if it does it or not. But it's
I
definitely,
thoroughly enjoy yours. I mean,
Yeah, I like
Thanks.
the videos, man.
but
Like,
your
just in
setup
general,
on that.
thanks. Yeah, I
wish
just
there
kind of
was
did
way
with
more.
what I had. You know, I wanted to get what Derek had, but man, those things are $2-3
They're way
grand.
expensive, yeah.
Yeah, and then you need a power supply too.
I always think of you, Andy, now when you did that last, was it the Kicker or was it the Alpine video where you're doing like that? It looks like you're doing spin tables, turning the gain up, or, you know, it's plugged up to a sub. I didn't, you know,
Yeah.
he said, they're like, waka waka, like turn the gain up.
Hell
You're like,
yeah.
I'm going to roll into it on this one. Twing.
It's easier for I don't have a bass knob with RCA, so I can't use it for every amp. I'm gonna get one of those so I can just roll into it up to clipping, because the head unit, if I go up to like the clipping point, sometimes I can get a little bit further with the just the gain and get a little bit, couple more watts out of it for the certified. And you know, if I want to stay under 10% THD or whatever it is, I just found it was a little bit easier turning that gain up and leaving the volume set where I know it's absolutely clean, because it's an Alpine deck. Older 2-volt pre-out, nothing crazy. So
Everyone watching, Andy said your gain is a volume knob.
it is.
It's,
The now
I didn't tell you I'm going to Rockville now. You know,
exactly,
Yeah.
he's doing it. Yeah, they gave him a bigger banner than that for the background.
Ooh,
But-
I like that.
Yeah, but no, yeah, I'm glad to have you both here though. So, you know, Hi-Fi, you normally use a resistive load when you test on the amplifiers, and you use a speaker load, or, you know, reactive load, I guess. Do you guys think that you would see any kind of differences or not? And then it's not working with the Facebook thing, but Jacob Scott says you owe him a beer, Vega. But what do you think? Do you think you could see any kind of difference between seeing a resistive load and a reactive load, or do you think it'd be pretty comparable, the same, or do you foresee yourself buying a load bank, Andy, or what?
Yeah, I'm a little bit more limited because I'm kind of stuck at staying at one frequency to get my particular rise, my load, resistance, or whatever I'm testing for. So I'm stuck at that frequency. When you have a resistive load, you can see if it does it at 40 hertz or 1K or whatever. And you're not stuck at like, you know, okay, well, I got to add another subwoofer just so I can wire, you know, test at 1 ohm. You know what I mean? That's why I do a lot of the 2 or 4 channels, because then I can bridge a 2 and see the 4 per channel or whatever, 4 bridged and stuff like that. But I am interested in getting a resistive load. I know I was talking to you, Rob, about it, and I was talking to Kip too. He has to get back to me, I guess, with the resistive loads that they have, so I can go through them and get like a big boy, and then I can work on the bank, and then I can talk about bigger amps, you know. But
We're getting into it also, I think, and I think we're going to do, which obviously we have our own amplifiers to show off and dyno. I think what we're going to end up doing with ours is a completely different view. I mean, not a view, a way people are doing things. I like to set up I want to do a roll cart test bench that I roll out to my truck, and then I just literally add one on, you know, leads to my battery bank, and then literally just use my RCA outs or something like that, and then literally show off my alternator, you know, battery bank. You know, the amplifiers doing the numbers, and I think that's one thing that's cool about this too, is because it's like I'm not stepping on you guys' toes doing that. You know, it's a completely different, you know, way of doing the video, and if you see each one of them, even the guys that use the big dyno machine, a lot of guys, they have their own little vibe and groove, and I like seeing the both of you guys taking, you know, you find your own groove. If you know, you go back to even Vega or even Andy, look, you've been doing it not a long time now. You've both found your niche and editing style. And, you know, how you like you know, you might change your songs a few times, but I mean, like, you all found, you know, like an outlining for the most part of how you want to do things, which is cool. And I dropped off the bucket in the bandwagon on that, because I started doing like Will It Run videos, like, you know, quite a few years ago before it was popular, like dragging crappy cars out of, you know, stuff. And it's funny to think, as you see as time and things become more popular, what I was doing as far as making my Will It Run videos, that I was cutting out everything everyone wanted to see. They wanted to see you drag it out of the crappy ground. They wanted to see you do all the stuff to make check spark and all that stuff. And I'm cutting all that out. I'm like, I did this. Let's see if it cranks. And like, you know, like what people want to see versus what they end up, you know, going with are two different things. And if you stick with it, you know, you find your niche, and it's pretty cool to see that. I didn't mean to ramble on that one.
I've thought about, I like Andy's setup because, that wasn't an option. Those SPL labs and the term lab, no one need to use those for dynoing, in the beginning. So you didn't really know about it, but it's cool because you can take it up to 10% and see what it's doing at 10%.
Yeah, I like having the big screen.
Yeah, it makes the video something that I do in the future as well. Because I think it's valuable to do a pure resistive load and a reactive load as well.
Maybe more realistic, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
I would like to
see. On resistive, you're seeing the maximum output you can get at that frequency, and you don't have to mess with anything. But, sometimes you get a little more out of a reactive load. Sometimes it drops a little lower. Sometimes it goes a little higher.
I want to see you guys I want to see somebody do. I don't know. I've not seen one done yet. I want to see an amp test, and obviously you don't have to set the standard on doing this, but I would like to see a difference on one. Set up a resistive load and a reactive load, and I think we would see different dynamic power numbers for sure with the reactive load and resistive load, because as the minute you're throwing the impedance rise into the mix with the dynamic stuff, I think it would negate a lot of it out. Not saying that isn't good to have dynamic headroom and all that stuff, but I think a lot of the numbers people get focused on the dyno things. If you showed them both loads on the amplifier, I think you could take and show a little bit more realistic of how things work in the vehicle.
Oh, yeah, more differences. More in the stuff that's in the cars.
Yeah. Because a pure sine wave is going to be a lower number than music. If you're playing actual music, you're going to peak higher numbers dynamically than you will a sine wave. Because a sine wave, there's no room for variance. It just is what it is, and you're going to get your peak number like that. But a floating resistance, how a reactive load works or a subwoofer works, people don't really understand how subwoofer works. So it's like, I got a 2 ohm subwoofer. It is a 2 ohm subwoofer. But as soon as you put it in an enclosure, it's going to be a little bit different. As soon as you play any music through it, your impedance curve is going to change, and it's hard to bring people along and understand how a subwoofer actually works.
Box rise.
Yeah.
Do you think? Sorry, what were we saying, Andy?
No, box rise, man. That's a debatable topic, man. I remember when I first got into car audio, I started saying box rise, and they're like, "You don't even know what you're talking about." And it's like, well, I kind of do. I don't know how it works, and I still don't. You know what I mean? But when I build a box, I kind of look at the impedance curve because it's all over the place. And like you were saying, Rob,
hand with efficiency and the amplifier, like the amplifier's ability to do with code control and stuff like that. It has a lot of play into it. The enclosure type, but again, like impedance rise goes hand in hand with efficiency. And it goes back to, if there's things you can do to your enclosure and port tuning and change things if you to get rides at different areas or, not at where your burpee frequencies at, things like that. But you're going to lose bandwidth of the enclosure and things like that go hand in hand with it.
Right.
And I don't shoot for numbers on that stuff. Like I would rather have rides at the yin yang and have crazy bandwidth and be, efficiency. But a lot of people get fixated on those numbers.
I think that people that are into car audio loud systems that don't actually compete in SPL don't understand the science that people are putting in to these big builds. They're not just throwing shit in there and being like, yeah, it's loud. No, everything they do is design. They're testing every aspect of their system. They know if they want a fourth order, they know what they're going to do. That's why, when people open the door to bail out on a system and 2 or 3 subs blow up, people's like, well, that happens. Like, you change the tuning frequency because this SPL build is an entire build. The whole cabin's part of the build.
It'll drive you crazy. You know that, man.
You could be like me and then just get tired of doing 140, so you finally just wall it off because it's late.
And then do a 149.
Then do it now. Yeah, didn't do a 149.
I know if I add any more subs, it's going to be a wall. There's no way. That's if it stays in that car, too. I don't know. But we'll see.
I'm not doing smack outs of mine except further bracing and trimming out. I'm going to do that Astro van.
Yeah. I've got an amp here, and it's we're going to wire it to the dirt and see what we
What's up, Todd?
With this.
I bet you wire it. Is it 802?
It's 802, yeah.
Yeah, I bet you wire it 1 ohm bridged, and it'll do burps fine.
Yeah, we're going to do that. So I was like, 2.2 decibels shy of 140 in the Trooper, with actually the 225 HCCA, not even this amp.
That blew my mind, dude. That blew my freaking mind, Hi-Fi, dude. Dude, this guy, and if you guys weren't aware of this, and which obviously you can check it out, but not a lot of you guys know that a lot of the Rockford amps have, underrated, reputation, stuff like that. But I even as a Rockford fanboy, nut hugger, or whatever you want to say, you know, collector, all that jazz, I didn't realize how skewed some of the underrating was, and then B, how loud you can get with efficiency with the smaller amplifiers. Because you were like, what was it? I'm sorry. So I'll let you, you know, if you don't mind, dive into that, like the small difference you had between the different amplifiers.
So I hit a 139.8, and I've never done any SPL runs in the Troopers, so I wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen, you know. And I used a Rockfield K915. This is the difference for both the Rockford Fosgate amps. Since I wanted to keep them at 4 ohms mono, I used 2 Rockfield K912s in a much larger enclosure with a side firing port that was like this far away from the wall.
Jeez.
So the sub's the difference, in my opinion, in the testing. The sub, the 15 fits in there. It's a backfiring sub, backfiring port. And I think that is what made the difference in that particular situation. And I'm curious, now that I have an amp that I don't mind, you know, blowing up to get it done, so be it. We'll see if this can get me up over 140.
I'll be interested to see, man. But that was the 250x2, though. That thing was just putting in the beans.
Yeah. And the only reason I knew this amp wasn't as underrated as other Rockford Fosgate amps is because Derek had told me, he's like, yeah, I've tested a few of them. They do rated, but they're not like crazy underrated like most other Rockford Fosgate amps.
Okay, check this out. So I sold Derek, and I'm sure you've seen it, the large blue amp disclosed. The you know, that 302, I just threw that in there with him. I knew that 302 made good numbers because whatever I put it on, I mean, literally anything I hooked up to the 302, it was beating on it, right? Like that was a backup for a long time. I didn't realize that the 302 pretty much put out the same freaking dyno power that my freaking 800 by Power T802 did. It was within like 300 watts difference of my T802 versus the T302, and that's still like a $500 difference in amplifier.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. What year is your amp, Rob? The 800.2 that you're going to be running? What year is that? Like 2000
like
or 99?
99 or something like that. 98, something like that.
I see a lot of those still floating around, man. They're still running. It's crazy. I actually see them in the lanes. It's nuts. Like,
if I see one, systems. Bro, I'm still, even with all the stuff going on with our own thing, I hoard Facebook Marketplace for. I look over them now, but if they have the end caps and their price fairly, I'm gonna go buy them, like straight up, like because you can just straight up take them. You can take those things home, scrub them down real good, clean them up real nice, and then Rockford Classifieds page done. And
can't. I feel like they did away with end caps on all amps, like Alpine.
Thank God.
Yeah.
It's 2021. We don't want to be like taking caps off our amps.
Exactly.
What do we look like?
And we don't want Kip, if you're watching those angle terminals, bro. We gotta do something about this.
He said they're not gonna be
on. You
don't
know, Rob?
They're not gonna be on anymore.
No, he told me, but it's still like that. I'm not gonna quit complaining until I have that amp in my hands.
He's like, we're gonna send you one just to hush you up.
Me up.
Yeah. That's the thing I hated the most about those T series amps, like that, dude. I would be like flush mounting that Rockford 4K, and like the angle terminals, it would be like the box is right here, the terminals go to like right there, and you're like, what are you supposed to do with this? So like the wire is like bent like that to go.
You just drill holes into your mounting board. Man.
Yeah, just go through the bottom.
This is back when people use mounting boards, you know.
Oh, well, they made a bunch of those adapters.
Yeah,
the hook looked like the hook adapters, and it's like, dude, this is all because.
They wanted to make it look like really clean, I guess. So you have the wires running through. I mean, that's how mine is on the back of my amp, so you can't really tell. But it is kind of a pain because my amp's like right there by the top of the bottom of the freaking floor of the box. So it's like,
well, and then
you know what I mean? Trying to get it in there.
When you I just use arrows for everything.
That's when it comes to an issue because I'm looking around like, what box can I put under this to get it up off the ground so I can test it right?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. So like, that's one thing I'll notice too with Derek or yourself it obviously nobody really cares, to be honest with you, but you're just like, what can I use in this video that doesn't look silly to space this up or set it on something or whatever. And it's facts on that kind of stuff, man. It's humorous. But obviously nobody cares if you have a book laying under it or whatever. You're like, okay,
but you know,
it's killing all the power.
Like you're like once you're like, oh, or you put a video out and you clearly miss something, and it's like, man, dude. especially because I don't know how you do it, but I watch it in the editor when I'm done. I watch one time through just to put in some background music. Then I watch again complete. I upload and I watch it again one more time, and I try different headphones and stuff. And I had an issue.
You have to.
And I had an issue where my voiceover got drowned out because I messed up the tracks. Like, dude, so literally the first comment was, I can't hear what you're saying. So I had to delete it, go back,
redo
it. Yeah, so it was a nightmare.
I know editing's the pain. Usually I do it on my way to work, get like the where I want where and kind of with the sound because I bring my headphones to work anyway, so I have them on my head. But these headphones are they make anything sound really good and a lot louder than it would on my phone. And a lot of people are watching my videos or your videos on their phone, not on their TV with their surround setup, and they can just turn up the volume. So it's got to be at a certain threshold where it's not too loud and not but you got to hear everything. I know my last video kind of sucked. I was gonna do a voiceover because my car's throwout bearing is so squeaky and it's annoying, but it's like, well, I got to show you how the voltage is different with the car running, and I feel like whenever I'm in person doing the video, I'm more enthusiastic than a voiceover. It's the only reason why I didn't throw it in there.
I wouldn't pay attention to the throwout bearing thing unless you pointed it out, to be honest with you. I mean, you're being way too subjective on it. I wouldn't have cared whatsoever. Like, it's a base. Dude, the catalytic converter on my Excursion, after 6, dude, I'm telling you, it's worse than it ever has been now after Slamology, just giving all those demos. And I'm just like, I don't even care, dude. Like, I was sitting in Arby's drive-thru today, it's like rattling like crazy, and I'm like, yeah, this is me, dude.
It is rattling,
yeah.
Too damn loud.
Yeah. I can't handle rattles, dude. I'll fix them all.
I'm gonna cut it off.
People on YouTube, I took me a while to learn this. Like, they just want you to be up to clipping. So I would try to keep my voice like clean, where it didn't clip at all in the green. I'd be like minus 9 dB. No, you got to take it all the way up to clipping, or they're gonna bitch about it. It's just where they are.
Do you see a lot of? No, Andy, I'll let you chime in on that too. Do you guys see? I feel like you guys have mostly positive feedback. Do you guys have like your haters or people that kind of like say you don't know what you're talking about or what? Or you still see that? Or do you see a change? I honestly felt like there's been a resurgence of positivity. I feel like in the last year or so, or people that are just like, hey man, don't be a dick. Like,
right. Yeah, you get your normal, but nothing too crazy. And it's like usually someone that doesn't know you, it's new to your channel, and they think they're a know-it-all. If that's usually like the worst case scenario. I actually had someone comment today on like the live stream of a Kicker Mash show 3 weeks ago, and it's like, why are you complaining about this and that? Yeah, it's like, dude, watch it live, and if you really have something, why don't you contact them? You know what I mean, or something like that. So it's like messages like that. It's like you just got to blow it off, whatever. But the main time I had any kind of trouble, and that's like anything, is whenever you post your video, because I use Facebook because I'm more known on Facebook than YouTube now. So I throw it in different groups. And I threw my how to build your own test bench into we'll say like computer group, not even computers, but you know what I mean? Like they're literally like fixing and building their own Class A amplifiers. Okay. So these guys are like, that's not a test bench. That's not a test bench. So you need this, you need O-scope, you need this, da, da, da. I'm like, no, this is just for testing amplifiers. Right. Simple bass head stuff, like what we do. Not that, but man, I got some hate on that. And I was like, oh my God, really guys? Sorry. Well, like,
I feel like a lot of it overlaps. Like I feel like the computer stuff guys, I feel like the bass head stuff, the car enthusiasts, a lot of it overlaps. Like I'm a jack of all trades, an expert at none, and they all go hand in hand with each other. And like I'm like for instance, this thing here, like I can't buy anything and leave it alone. And I feel like that's one thing that just gets the bug of enthusiast, and like it translates to about any hobby that we do. I'll nerd out on one thing galore, and then I'll just find something else and go into
bad.
Like RC cars.
Yeah.
Oh, God, those guys are crazy.
Heck yeah, I'm getting on a darn bike kick, man. Got a brand new Schwinn from Walmart, man. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's like
I've seen the pictures. I've seen
yeah.
Hey, it's something we can all do as a family. Lose some weight. I don't know. I'm catching a couple pounds, man. I'm 31, so got to do something.
You're looking pretty good in that face app pic, man. I was trying to holler at you for a minute.
Hell yeah, dude.
Like, who's that? She likes stickers?
He did the face app thing, and then the same day did the blue hair video thing or whatever, and I was like,
Yeah.
Hold my seltzer. Yeah.
What's
Dude,
going on,
like,
Bandy?
bro, there was like multiple people at Slam with the blue hair wig thing on, and I'm like,
really?
It's not the right. It's not the same.
Slam was so hot on Saturday.
It was so hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott.
I was going to ask, how was Slamology? Let's talk about Slamology. I didn't go,
insane,
so you guys got to
man.
fill me in.
It was humbling. It was insane. Like, we were pretty much, like small time celebrities for the weekend. It was crazy.
Yeah, kind of at the same time.
Yeah, Casey decided he was going to show up. We show up, and he decided he's going to break a world record. As soon as we get there, and he fried 2 brand new subwoofers that had like a whole couple hours of playtime on them.
Nice,
which was tight. But then again, he blocked off those holes and still gave out windy 20 hertz demos. At 150 plus for the weekend. The Power Hog thing did crazy. I gave like 150 plus demos over the weekend. It was almost 100 the first day. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, dude, I gave it the beans the whole weekend, and we had no failures, no anything. And I gave
an alternator bolt.
Yeah, pulling into Slamology, an alternator bolt broke in the block and burned the crap out of my hand, like taking and putting the belt back on. But we went to Ace Hardware, popped the bolt back in it, and just gave it the beans the whole weekend, man. It was insane.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And the second day, the videos I've been posting around on Facebook.
No, I haven't caught any of them yet.
Dude, he's got some pretty big name people.
Yeah, it did a 57.2 at 22 hertz.
Wow.
And a 56.2 at 20.
That's crazy, man.
And then it did like a 59 at some on music at some frequency. I'm not sure what.
What org did you compete in? Did you compete, or you just metered off of someone's stuff there?
I was doing it. It was a minute long, 20 hertz, doors closed, windows up.
Okay.
People holding my doors. Yeah, I was like 50 seconds in. I had to be over a 148 average at 20 hertz, and I was at a 150. So I had it about 2 dBs, and then it started going down a little bit. And I'm like, and he's telling me to turn it up. And in my head, I'm like, and I just turned it up into clipping, and then one of the subs just exploded, blue sparks everywhere.
So you were sealed up.
Brand new TV6s.
Door sealed, windows sealed. That was a sealed score.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You should try Outlaw. You should try Outlaw. You'd be so much louder.
It is.
2 dBs. Yeah.
7.2 at 22 hertz. So it's got a 60. I just got to figure out where and how far into 60 I can get it.
That's the crazy thing about that little Trooper is that 140 almost, the 139.8, that was completely sealed on the dash.
Nice.
Wow. If you opened your door, it'd be 140 plus.
Oh yeah,
right.
And put it in the kick, and we done that just because we try to keep the numbers down, but then the guys in Australia are freaking nuts at doing 150 something plus off of 20-year-old amps. So,
I know.
Every crack, filling every void. I promise you.
Touche. It made the world's difference in my truck feeling it, doing the. Well, obviously, there's no going back once you do it. Like, I can't take 20 cans of spray foam out of my roof or whatever.
My roof doesn't even I overbuild everything. Everything's so rigid. My roof doesn't flex. I was gonna put a brace in there, but watching the videos, it's like barely moving.
You guys ever watch Subwoofer King?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so he got like a new 4Runner, not new, but it's like a 2015 or something like that.
The one with the party mode buttons.
Well, he got it. It's a nice ride, and he puts the 18s in there, and just over time you can see he's adding the spray foam. The crack by the gas can or the gas cap, the door fell off. Cracks right there, and he just keeps adding spray foam. I was like, dude, you ruined this truck.
I don't want to talk about ruining. It's funny, my excursion was so cheap when I bought it. Now they're like, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I'm like, yeah, I got it. You're the first one that pointed it out. Like, yeah, they're going up, and he ruined it with a wall. And I'm like, yeah, I did. That's sweet though. It's tight.
At least you got a C-pillar, man. You still got a back seat too. So dude, that's awesome.
You know how insane it was all week? I'm not even playing tooting my own horn. I was like literally one of the only vehicles that I left the excursion running all day, the entire day it slammed every day. It was AC blasting. I was A, doing that. B, we had like 5 and 6 people in it at some certain times, just packed in giving demos. I mean, just full tilt. Awesome. It was crazy.
Yeah, when you can play like that, you got everything lined up straight. Your electrical, your drivers, your power, everything.
I did take it. Well, I went with only 180 amp hour in there, so there was periods where I was just cutting the radios and amps off and letting it go back up to 14.4. But dude, I sent it. Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. So okay, the second day they had us parked next to them for sound booth or whatever. Not gonna go into all that noise, but when I realized who was staying and helping clean up and all that stuff, I opened the doors at the end of Slam, and I played that thing until they literally told me to cut it off. And yeah, it was pretty neat. But I'm very thoroughly humbly pleased that the feedback that we got was all completely just genuinely positive and overwhelming. And then B, there's no failures, man. Like all those big name people here, even Casey, blew subs, and I just gave him the beans. And Dean said it's all about the demo. Dean is not showing the Facebook comments in my stream for some reason.
Oh, yeah,
and yours is turned down. When we tuned Scott's system, I mean, the amps are only at like 70 volts AC. So it was
like 82, but yeah.
They can go way higher.
He's like, I got more power than that. Calm down.
Yeah, watch out.
Way more. And then he really needs. We're gonna do a third amp, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a third 7500. Yeah,
we have a team member here, our local team member. He has a 4K assault per coil.
Wow,
just giving it to beans. Yeah, and it's loving it, dude. He's got it in like a trunk build, and it's just getting down. All reality, y'all. Yeah, like those 6 subs, they're not even hardly moving on the 27500s. You know, they're 4500 watts RMS a piece. But I mean, like it again, It lets me demo. Ask Casey. I never smelled my subs that whole weekend. I mean, like, and I didn't. I'm not doing no 30-second get out demos. Like we were demoing whole songs back to back.
You're not clipping them either because the amps have a clip limiter.
Yeah, the clip limiter chip, technology. Yeah,
he can turn his radio all the way up and it won't clip.
Say what?
Yeah, there's a clip limiting technology. There's other manufacturers that have it out in the market now, but all it's really doing, it throttles the waveform on the amplifier down to where it's not a hard clip on it. There's still flash to clip lights stuff like that, but it's really outside of the range that it's going to be affecting you. It's pretty impressive, actually.
Wow, and that's with all your amplifiers, huh?
All of the D
all of the Razorback, not the 4-channel.
Yeah. Oh, obviously, just the mono blocks, right? That's awesome. See, I didn't know that. I'm learning. That's awesome.
It's really impressive, man. Again, I got those amps so hot. Okay, so the first day was like 130 degrees, like on top of the blacktop. I had the amp so hot before I put the fannies on it. I'm not even joking. The top one went in thermal protect. Yeah, the top one went in thermal protect. The bottom one, I went back there. The bottom one that was still playing had melting glue from the vibration protection smoking on it. And then I literally went to Spark Innovations. I went there and bought 2 of their fannies, popped them right on the side of the box. Literally, it cooled the amps down like 20 degrees Celsius in like 5 to 7 minutes, and really never had a problem with it again. But awesome. They literally went to thermal protect with smoke playing off of them. Yeah, it's funny though too, because right before that, one of my buddies like, "Dude, your amps are really hot." I'm like, "They've got a thermal protect. Don't worry about it, bro. It's fine."
That was me. You told me that.
Yeah, I was like,
I do all the amps. I'm like, Scott, these amps are really hot. Dude. You should probably turn it off.
I'm like, they have a protection.
No.
Yeah, I had like a truck full of people, and he's like at my window, Scott, and I'm like, it's fine.
I just burned my hand.
They're just breaking in. That's all.
Yeah,
this little break-in smell.
Wait, how'd you guys end up by the Down for Sound tent? Because they're like, that's a hot spot right there. I'm sure there's.
Ramondo.
He was talking to Naveed from Crescendo.
We had Limitless showed up first. We gave all Limitless demos, and then Crescendo showed up, including Naveed, and I gave him all demos too. And they hit up to Ramondo at like 11:30 at night, and they're like, "Hey, come park next to Down for Sound booth." And so it was like literally like JP's truck, Ramondo's truck with the Explorer that I towed, the wall one, and then me, and then Casey and them. And we were right there, bro. So I was taking JP's sloppy seconds on them demos, bro. I'll take that line lined up. I will. Hey. Come on, boy. Come on.
Heck yeah, dude. Like, that kind of puts you on doing that. That's awesome because JP's huge on YouTube.
I gave him a demo.
Oh, did you?
Nice. Did you get a video? Yeah,
I did video. I gave him the. I didn't want to make it about that. I wanted to show him the product.
That's how I feel too. It's like, is it okay if I film you? Like, especially
I didn't take it Naveed, Crescendo, Limitless. I hung out with Chris, the owner of Limitless Lithium, for a long time. I didn't want to make any of that about it.
Chris is a great guy, by the way.
Chris is an amazing guy from Limitless.
That's why you got to hide the GoPro in the corner of the dash. They won't see it. You know what I mean?
I just wanted to take and show. I wanted to show off the product. Keep calm, cool, and all. I didn't want to make it about like, oh, look at me with these guys. But it was really humbling. I had to come back in with AC. So like they had the Down for Sound truck there. And he literally he nuked us up. So he's like, I was like, man, I got an AC blasting right now. Which I bought a fuse panel. I had him sign it. I plugged it because I was like, hey, man, I'm here with Power Hog next to you. They put us next to you because I interviewed Jacob Scott. He was wicked insane cool. And I said, what's up to him? And I was like, I got the truck over here. So he finally got out after blowing subs, checking out Ramondo's build. Ramondo just blew a sub. I'm like, hey, this is my buddy Ramondo's truck. He just blew a sub. I got AC right here blasted. Come on, let's do this. And boom, that's all she took. But It's
That's
cool.
awesome.
I mean, I didn't want to make it again. Like I just wanted to show off Power Hog, and I'm very pleased and grateful of it A, performing, and B, like getting to show it off. It was cool. It was wicked cool.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
you can't complain. It's its first like debut, really, at a big show, and everything went great.
Yeah,
dude. There's
Not be
people
complaining.
all over, like the U.S. like recognize like
in Alaska, bro. We had people from
Alaska that were like, dude, I came. Like, I was excited to see this. Like, I did a post in MLG SPL or whatever, and because I posted the back seat getting done, I was like, I got the back seat redone for y'all's butts during Slam or whatever. And they're like, bro, I was coming from Alaska to hoping to get to see this too, and I was like, that's super
awesome.
Humbling, bro. Yeah. Now I got to figure out what the cost of shipping these guys amps to Alaska because he wants them now. But
oh no,
yeah.
It's the only thing with that
flat rate box.
Yeah, right. If it fits, it ships. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that's pretty awesome though, because that's a lot of exposure there.
Mm-hmm.
Getting right there and getting your name out and letting people check it out.
I gave it the beans, dude, too. I took in it was all the full sauce. Now, before we just go, rambling on about Slam the whole time, what do you see you doing any big installs? I know you say you're happy around 140 dB, like so that 140. That's good range for you, or what? Do you think you'll ever go Loud Boy or no?
No, I won't. I won't because that people don't understand how much work that is. I think,
and it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of money, and there's a lot of people that are very good at it. So I'm the type of guy, like if I actually wanted to get loud, I want to try to get loud, and it's just going to be it consumes your life. Like YouTube and all that's fun, but when you're doing like a SPL build, you're not just doing easy little installs here and there. You're taking it pretty serious, and you put a lot of time into it.
Rob, how about just a 150, like 412s or 415s no wall in your
you need another stroker. Get another stroker.
Yeah, 215's easy.
There's no way I could fit 14 for anything in that trooper. Maybe 4.8s.
You can fit 410s in it. You can do it.
After the amp rack, it's about this big.
Wow. Your kids are grown now, man. Take the back seat out. Take the back seat out.
But I'm actually that's the 4-wheeling rig.
Yeah,
that's just a rolling test.
See, that's why you need like 6 cars, one base car, off-road.
Dude, the troopers are going up in value, by the way. I didn't realize that if you have a second-gen trooper especially, I didn't realize those things are going up. If you have one that does not have a grenaded transmission, they're like, dude, I saw one for like 7 bands the other day at a dealership, like a buy here, pay here. I'm like, what the F is this? But
yeah, I just done a transmission service on it just for that reason. I was like, I got to see if there's any metal in here. So I dropped both pans, auxiliary pan, and I was like, it's perfectly clean. So someone has been in there before me.
Serviced it before.
And then I put it all together, put it back up. I didn't do the low band adjustment on the first and second gear. Took it for a drive.
Oh, wow.
Shifting in seconds, like, oh, God. I jump on the forums. They're like, yo, you got to do the low band adjustment on first and second. Drop the pans again. Still no metal, thankfully. And done the adjustment. Perfect air percent.
That's crazy. See, I wonder now, man, if you go online and see like troopers that have like transmission issues 1, 2, how many of us need that adjustment done to them? That's something I never thought about. Yeah. But that's a big gamble. A big gamble on buying that guy.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, have you done an update recently on the CCA wires? Is it still holding strong? We're gonna touch base on that on the subject.
Yeah, I haven't checked it in like 3 months, so I'm going to pull it out again. I'm assuming that at some point it's going to fail, but it may be, with talking with Dean, has a lot of experience with it. He says he thinks it's going to be like in the years, not like multiple years, not just 6 months or something like that, because I'm not in his climate down in Florida, by the beach and all that. So we'll see.
I think so too, man. I think I think you'll have. If I had to put like a actual betting number, like realistically, not gonna see, I bet just 3 years. I bet like 3 years you start seeing some deterioration. I had a customer of mine that had a CCA failure, turned to dust, but he said he had the amp kit in there for as long as he owned the truck, and it was like a wire that should have been cut off anyway. Like you have like the 2 feet after the fuse on the amp kit or whatever, instead of trimming it, they just leave the whole 2 feet on there, and I'm like, you're good to go, bro. We're basing again,
So I tried to do it the worst way possible. So I didn't want a bunch of exposed wires. I'm not going to do that. But I didn't use the ferrule, didn't use heat shrink. I just went straight into the fuse holder, tightened it down on both ends. So it rips the CCA a lot of times when you do that, and I can see it when I take it out. But it hadn't yet. We'll see.
I mean, if it's ripped in there, as long as it's touching, what's the connectivity issue? I mean, I don't know. That's crazy to think about. Well, we're coming up on the hour mark, guys. You got anything, questions, comments, concerns? Anything you guys want to bring to the table before we start wrapping this bad boy up?
Casey, any demo highlights from Slamology? I know you had a couple videos on Facebook. Any kind of crazy responses when you were there?
Yeah, man. We went to pre-registration and we sat there for like 3 hours. We had a little mini bass meet.
In the line for pre-registration.
In the line, yeah.
I heard about that.
And that's like everyone at pre-registration is the ones who heard all 4 subs. And then, I mean, it's crazy with those things in there.
I didn't think about that, Casey.
Next morning,
you demoed more.
Jesus.
I forgot. Yeah, you demoed more in pre-registration than you did in Slam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, man. It's really windy, man. Pull your hat off and like all this other stuff. I'm really, really happy with it. When I first built it, I was thinking like, if I do a 150 at 20 hertz, I'll be happy. And then it did a 56 too, and it just like blew my mind, you know?
Dude, his truck. We went to like this like
ridiculous.
park by our house, and we are doing some testing right before Slam, like the 2 days before or whatever. His truck at 20 hertz caught me off guard. Like I was like looking out the window with the window down. It was smacking my shirt to my neck so hard it stung, dude. I'm like, what in the crap, dude? I was like,
it's not even bass. It's just noise.
It's violent.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted, though, man. Like, and I don't know. I know it has a 60 in it, and because I did a 50 on an accident on music, not sure what frequency it was, but I know it can do a 60. So, like, do I go see what frequency it is, find my peak, and test and do it, or do I just ignore it completely and just do what I built the truck for, which is lows, you know?
Yeah, but
you can add more power.
Like, they just don't want to clown on you. Like, yeah, I built it as a demo truck. They're clowning you. Oh, because you can't do the numbers.
Mm.
Oh, it'll do the numbers too. Yeah. So we'll see. I've never done a 60 before, so I might do it just to say I did it. And then
60 is the new 50, I hear. So
I don't know, man.
I think 55 is the new 60 because 55 is still considerably loud. You know what I mean? In my opinion,
right?
Like, and I can do that with a C-pillar
or stuff like that.
Dude, yeah, that's one thing. Like people are like, oh, like you should do the 160. Like, bro, 55 with a C-pillar is doing it for me, bro. Because guess what? You don't got back seats, bro.
You know, do a 60 if you brace the doors and add another 7,500 and you actually turn them up, I think.
Yeah, I need to. Yeah, I need to brace. Dude, my doors. I have no paint in my door jambs now. There's a line all the way around all of them now. It's just bare metal now from the door.
Flapping and slapping, man. That's
what's happening. Dude, I'd see a YouTube guy or somebody come up recording the door. I'm like, all the sauce. You just get it, record it, bro.
I can't.
Yeah, I get uncomfortable when I see the glass flapping out. It's like, dude, don't get by that.
Dude, I watched luckily the car right next to me, dude. This guy he's got a Jacquard build, popped a windshield with this. Now, luckily nobody got it in their face, man. I mean their eyes, but I mean this glass just went all over the kid's face. Dude. Yeah, Fishbowl's car, man. There's a kid, I mean, it exploded in his face, dude. And then the resilient the ground pounder limitless truck, it exploded a windshield with Naveed and the Crescendo owner in it. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. And that's one thing I have to look at now too, man. My fire. So guys, I'm pretty dang rigid now. I'm not Casey's level, but my door flex is one bad thing, and then my firewall is flexing. Now I never thought in my life I'd have to worry about bracing my freaking firewall. Yeah, so it's like you think it's not the windshield flexing; it's the metal at the bottom of it is doing it.
Wow. So our teammate Ramondo Thanos with the level 6 18s on 4 Crescendo 17Ks, it's ridiculous. He blew a dust cap off during a demo, and Caitlin, my girlfriend, was getting a demo in Juicebox, the truck that had blown his windshield right beside Ramondo, and it blew the dust cap out Ramondo's window and into Juicebox and into her lap.
Jesus.
You're in 2 demos.
Oh, I've got dust cap before. Yeah, I've been
from a different car.
No, not in a different car, but I caught it to the back of the head, and I was like, "Damn it!"
Jacob was saying that Naveed got glass in his drink from the Limitless truck.
Oh my god!
Yeah, like that's. Did you imagine? Like I never would
wound up on an episode of House.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
they're like, we don't see anything on this.
Yeah, I've never seen this before. This guy ingested windshield glass.
It's a sideways toothpick.
I definitely have a goal to make Slam at some point. It's like the biggest show. I want to make it, but I'm definitely going to be the old guy there with the earplugs and the and if I see that window moving, like I'm not by it, man. I'm not.
Don't worry. I'm not loud. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about that in my truck. I would love you guys to do it. To come to Slam, I would love you guys. I would literally drive out there if you and Derek did a meetup thing. I would legitimately, me and Casey would be toting our butts up there to do the meet and greet thing. I think it'd be awesome. Now that COVID's over too, I think you guys should do one.
We got Excess Power and Sundown
coming
up.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to make the Sundown show.
We're going to Sundown.
Yeah.
So maybe we got to figure out the plans. Like my anniversary, my 20-year anniversary is that week. So
wow.
But I think I'm gonna try to do that the week before.
Mm-hmm. You just got to butter her up good. We'll make a big deal about it on Facebook. Everyone wish them happy anniversary. We'll go crazy with it. Then but I think that'd be good. Yeah, if you guys make Sundown, that'd be crazy. Yeah, we're gonna have the whole team out there again too. I'm gonna get my truck ready for battle by then. There's a few places I found out that I needed to brace, a few places that I thought I didn't need to foam that I needed to foam, and I'm gonna tell you that.
Dude, that's one thing people don't realize how powerful bass can be.
Dude, okay, so I'm not trying to ramble on right now. We're over the time, but I didn't brace or foam the last 1 foot of my truck, okay, because that's where the cargo area is at. If that isn't the loudest, most rattly thing in my dude, so it's the box is rigid, the back of it, okay. This one back part though, just going retarded on top of it. I'm going to rip the roof right back there, and I'm like, why did I not? While I was up there drilling holes already, filling it with foam, do the last foot of it, But I think it'll be good after that. But we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up, man. We're an hour and 5 in. Vega, man, I do genuinely appreciate your time, dude. This is crazy insightful. I was glad to see the deep dive into your history, into the audio thing, man. It's been fun as always. I enjoy having this conversation. The same thing with Andy, my boy Casey here, man. I do genuinely appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Good seeing you guys.
Thank you for having us on, man. Appreciate it. It's always fun every week. Heck yeah.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't see any of the Facebook comments.
Yeah, I have to figure out. It's 50-50. The last one worked. This one I couldn't, but I'll get it. I think it's got to do with the public-private thing. But cool, gentlemen, I appreciate your time. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. You all have a fantastic evening, and we'll look forward to you guys in the next one.
All right.
Peace.
See ya.
Thanks for watching, guys.